Welcome to the Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast, your home for the latest products and news in the shooting sports, hunting, and the great outdoors. And now, here are your hosts, Jake Cawthon and Jason Westmoreland.
Hey everybody, Jake and Jason coming at you live from the Circle Star Firearms podcast, here again for a wonderful time. And this time, we're not here. Well, we're like really here, but we are kind of here. We're headed to go do something fun.
We are. We are going to Montana, which is going to be awesome. And you introduced this, but for those of you who don't know, we are Circle Star Firearms, the best little gun store in Texas, and located in the big booming town of Anderson, right outside of College Station.
No prettier place on the planet.
We want to thank all of you for listening and telling people about us, because we really appreciate it.
And it shows that y'all are, because we're seeing more and more folks are listening. Word's getting out.
Yep.
Excited about it.
For those of you who haven't done it yet, if you want to like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff.
Do the things.
Yeah, but as Jake was saying, we are headed to Montana to do the bear hunt.
Excited about it. Been excited about it. It's been for me, a whirlwind of emotions, planning, all things, because I'm taking my son with me. You know, Travis is 12, and
Yep.
I have to do it all for him. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to carry half of his weight.
Which, way to go. Good dad right there.
Trying.
And we're not breaking him in easy. This is a hard hunt. It's a for real hunt. So he's gonna, not that we're gonna push him too hard, but he's gonna get to see what it's all about, what we go out and do.
So that's kind of the idea behind today's podcast is kind of how we got prepared for this, what our planning was, what went into it, what we took with us. Right now, this is kind of a glass half full kind of podcast, because we're excited. You know, everything's rosy and good, and then we'll come back and do a recap and
Post. And we're actually taking audio equipment with us there, so we'll be able to maybe even do a podcast while we're on the mountain. Ooh, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be wild.
Yeah. So, but a big thing a lot of people ask is, you know, and it took us years and years and years of trial by error, I'm going to say, to figure out what everything you needed to where you get up there and you don't feel like you're lacking. You're like, oh, I got this, I got that.
Well, I don't think you could ever go in this 100% right off the bat.
No.
It's this. Heck, we've been going. I mean, I've been hunting my whole life, but let's talk about Western hunting and backcountry hunting for that matter. I've been doing it now for 5, 6, 7 years, and I can't think of a single trip I haven't either got rid of something,
Yep.
or got something new to take with me.
Yeah. It's always a learning curve, and there's always new products and everything coming out.
And that's where I'm excited. I got some new stuff to try to field test.
And you said Western hunting, because it is, you know, your pack is going to be mission specific. Every ounce on a mountain, especially when you're in elevation, is like, it feels like pounds. It's hard.
It changes. I mean,
Western hunting is I'm going to say, arguably, from everything I've done, my experience, it's the hardest hunting out there.
I love it, though.
But it's beautiful. It's the most rewarding. It's back to nature. I mean, you're there.
It's hunting at its purest. It's you versus nature. You versus the mountain. You pull up to wherever you're going to leave your vehicle at. You throw what you can and what you can support on your, and this, at least the way we're doing this trip, and we'll talk about that, the pros and cons to it, that I've got 5 days worth of my stuff. I've got a little bit of Travis's stuff, just because, you know, I can carry more weight than he can, and off you go. It's you walking as much as where you can get to, where you scouted and e-scouted and planned and talked about, and everything that goes with that. And then you're there, and you gotta make it happen. You're filtering water. You're trying to, how do you plan? What are you going to eat for 5 days when you can't refrigerate? Shelter styles, weather.
Weather's a big factor in determining your pack, because, you know, we're expecting lows in the 30s, highs in the 60s, but weather changes, and, you know, you got to be ready for if it does.
And they're already starting to call for a little bit of rain.
Yeah, get down in the 20s. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. The last thing you want to do when it's, 40 degrees and you're on the side of a mountain and the wind's blowing is to be soaking wet. Mm-hmm. So that will ruin a trip. And it's not like you can run to the car and get something. You have to have everything you're going to need.
Got to have a plan.
Yep. So that's that's what we're going to talk about.
So let's talk about the planning up to the trip.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about how we packed for the trip. I
Right.
think that'd be a great idea.
Right. So we knew we wanted to do a Western hunt, a Montana hunt. Spring bear.
Yep.
You're the one who kind of turned me onto it. You've been talking to one of our good buddies up in Montana,
Yep.
and he is an avid hunter. He's a professional fishing guide.
And I'll give him a plug. His name's James Ligon with, the fly fishing.
I can't think of the name of his outfitter right now, but you can Google him. You can find him on Facebook. James is, I'm going to say, one of the top fly fishing guides in the country.
He's out of Ennis, Montana. It is, it's on the tip of my tongue. I see it. Anyways, I'll get it in a second.
But his jam is the Madison River.
Oh, yeah.
And he has mastered it. Doing float trips. If you want to go have the full fly fishing experience, that's just that epic, once in a lifetime, like what you picture in your mind, what it's all supposed to be about, he provides it. And he cooks a heck of a lunch too.
Oh yeah, and he moved from, he's originally from Georgia, moved to Montana, uprooted his family and everything. Said this is what I'm going
Chasing
to do.
that passion. Yep.
And there he is, and he is absolutely good at it.
Oh, he is.
But if you do book a trip with him, he's going to do everything he can to put the client first. I appreciate that. But
what I
after you go a
appreciate about
couple
you.
times, he gets a little comfortable with you, and he's going to piss you off because he is so good. Because you're out
It is
there,
unnatural.
You're just trying you're just trying your best. It's like when you're 3 years old again with that Zebco, and you're just bless your heart, right? You're just putting what you can into it, and he's over there, maybe age myself a little bit, but like the Goofy movie, The Perfect Cast, right?
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing, and he's like, and he can call a shot. He's like, I'm gonna put that fly on that little piece right there, and he goes boop, and then wham, fish every time. And I'm out there, and my arm hurts. I'm just whipping this freaking rod around. He's like, do, big old fish.
Well, he's the reason I was able to comfortably go into the Smoky Mountains and fly fish without, not saying that it didn't happen, but without snapping a line every 2 minutes, because that's such a technical place to fish. And his tips, tricks, and pointers on how to cast and bait and everything else were invaluable. So he's a master of the craft. So if you get a chance, if you want to plan that trip and find yourself around Ennis, Montana, that is the man to call.
So we've fished with him several times. We've become good friends with him. We talk about weekly or so. He's catching fish and sending photos. I'm doing something here, sending photos. We're just similar interests, so we talk.
Right.
Either way,
Hit it off.
That so he invited us to come up do a little elk hunting last year. Couldn't make that work, and so he said, "Let's do spring bear." Buddy, I'm in. So he's been doing a little local scouting for us. And, he's local, so he's got some folks in the area that he can kind of ask. And
Yeah, as a guide, he knows.
yeah, so he helped narrow it down for us a little bit. But even that, where he picked is where I would be looking, right? It's deep canyons with snowmelt streams that will maintain water through the year. It is where we're planning. It's basically this 5-mile valley, I guess. The best. It's
Death March. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's several ridges in a row. Like imagine ripples, but they're mountains, and it's just one of these big channels up the top of this hillside. And the plan is to walk basically halfway, about 5 miles, set up camp, and then now we have roughly 10 miles of south-facing slope to scout, glass, hopefully find a bear, make a play on it, because that's what they're going to be looking for this time of year. We're going to hunt basically the last week of spring bear in Montana. They've been out for a little while now, but he texted me last Wednesday. There's still snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So
They're
out and about. It's just that we got to figure out where they're going to be. They're still hungry. They're
still coming out of hibernation, still hungry, still trying to fatten up, walking around.
So they're going to be looking for food. And everyone thinks bear, right? They think picnic baskets. Like, no, different bear.
Different bear.
But bears are omnivores, and I didn't realize this till a trip several years ago. I was in Glacier National Park, not too terribly far where we're going to be, that one of the major diets of bears are bugs.
Yep.
I didn't know that. I figured it was berries, grass, tubers.
grubs,
animals.
beetles. Yeah.
But that's a huge part of their diet. And so we found a bunch of old deadfall and blowdown, and hopefully, some area with some younger green grass growing that they'll hold a couple bears.
We're going to give it the old college try.
And if nothing else, it's still 5 days in the woods with my buddies,
Right.
camping out, hunting.
It's going to be epic. And
I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see at least something.
oh yeah, if nothing else, we'll maybe find some sheds. And no, I'm staying positive about it. We're going to be in an area.
Got to.
We're going to be in an area that
We've
is.
been disappointed so many times. You've got to be positive.
And hey, talking about all this, more important than your gear, your pack, or anything, when it does start raining, when you do get cold, morale is a huge, huge part of this. Whether this is going to be a fun hunt, a miserable hunt, whether you're going to tap out, is you and your buddies keeping that, being appreciative of what you got, and part of that too. Every night having a fire. A fire goes a long ways. For whatever reason, a fire will boost morale.
And luckily, I've been on several last couple of years that it was so dry that you had to cold camp. And you're just like, it gets dark. You're like, oh, I guess go to bed now.
Yep. Yeah, we had a fire last year in Colorado. But
And we'll get to this here in a little bit when we talk about food, but I'm already planning for this. I into my food allotment, I have some morale boosts in there. Some little treats, little things that, if it starts to suck, I'm like, well, at least I have you.
yeah, that's that little sugar rush, especially
Kind of like Woody Harrelson in Zombieland, just trying to find a Twinkie.
because you can only pack up so much food. And if you're in there for 5 days, I mean, eat any way you do it, you're going to be calorie deficient because you're going to be probably burning 5,000-6,000 calories a day. You got to think you're
On
walking.
top of the 2,000 it takes to keep you alive.
Yeah, so you're walking, and you've got a 60 to 80 pound pack on your back. Sometimes more, depending. And it's not like you're walking on flat terrain. You're going up and down mountains, valleys, cliffs, whatever it takes to get to the spot or get to a bear that's rolled down a cliff or, oh, good Lord.
And then now you got to get it out.
Now you got to get it out.
At least we're talking something that only weighs a couple hundred pounds, not like a 1,000-1,500 pound elk.
Yeah.
I think that
And
1,000.
so keeping morale up is a big deal. But in order to do that, you do have to have the right equipment. And which I guess if you wanted to start, you'd start ground zero would be your pack.
Your pack. And years ago I bought one, and this is, for us right now, we talk about how we've upgraded or improved stuff. I think this is the perfect year. You're the great example of it. 'Cause
Yeah.
For Christmas this last year, I got Jason, because every time we've gone, he has this. It's a nice pack.
I do have a nice pack.
It's a Sitka pack, but it is more for like day hiking and little
Yeah,
stuff
maybe
like
2
that.
days.
It's not designed to be a load bearing.
Right.
And
right.
so for Christmas this year, I went out and I got him the brand new EXO K4, EXO mountain gear. And I think once you put it on, had the weight, you're like, oh my gosh, where have you been my whole life?
Yeah. Just the way the weight is distributed, the rigidness of the frame, the pad it has at your lower lumbar, all of that adds up to helping to make it a good trip. Because either way, it's going to suck, but it's it's embrace the suck. It's have fun.
And they're expensive. We've
Not
got
cheap.
We've got a customer of ours. Y'all familiar with the show? It's Frank. He's headed on a mule deer hunt, and he's been asking about it. And that's the first thing he texts. He texts us, "Hey, what pack?" And we both said EXO. And he responded back, goes, "Holy crap! Is there anything I don't have to take a mortgage out on?" I'm like,
but if you're climbing in the mountains,
when
that's what you need.
When it matters, that's the key. The biggest thing. You don't have to go out that first year and just drop crazy money on everything. Do it slowly but surely. Figure out what you need and don't need, but don't scrimp. The difference between good and great is always just a little bit more.
Don't scrimp or skimp. Because scrimp is what Bubba Gump eats.
I love scrimps.
I do love scrimp. Fried scrimp. Barbecue scrimp.
I say scrimp. Maybe it is skimp.
I'm going to go skimp. Either way, it works. Now I'm thinking of shrimp.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Don't scrimp on the shrimps.
Don't scrimp on the shrimp. I like it.
I don't know.
So what goes along with that pack, right, is where the weight is distributed on your body. Because, you can throw everything in a duffel bag and throw it over your pack or your back, and that's
It'll do it.
it'll do it, but you won't. So it puts the weight where it belongs. And when you're putting all your stuff in your pack, you want to try to balance it out. You don't want all the weight on the bottom or all the way on the top. You want to kind of balance it out. But the one thing you don't want for sure, and which I've had the problem with in the past, and it will ruin a hunt, is put too much weight on your glutes. You want it towards the top of your hips, where you feel that little hip bone. That's if you're a horse, that's where you're putting your stuff that you want to pack, your weight. If you go too low, it will kill your back. And your legs too, because your legs, man, that's what's getting you up and down those mountains. So you don't want any added weight on that. So a good bag, and thank God Jake got me that XO. I didn't realize how nice it was, but I've been hiking around with it a little bit, and I love it. Fully packed, fill my water bags up and everything, so I get the real, the true weight, because that's something you got to look at. Yeah.
He thinks I did it to be nice, but I did it to hear him to whine less. It really was a gift to me, more so as a gift to you. But.
Yeah. I'm the big whiner on there.
Because every trip about day 2, he's just in a ball. He's just like, everything hurts. I can't move.
Don't listen. The reason he did it is so I could carry more snacks. Oh, so
absolutely.
Took my last granola bar last time. I still love you. And then you're like, oh, but I had 10. I forgot. I'm like, dude, I needed that little morale boost.
Yeah.
So pack's where it's at, and then
we're both starting with the Exos.
Exos, yeah.
All right, and then let's go. You want to do clothes first? Or you want to do sleep systems?
Let's do sleep systems because
mine's going to be different than yours.
Yep. When you get there, you wherever you're going to make a spike camp or where you're camping at, you got to make that shelter, right? I'm doing a Big Agnes single man tent with, it's roomy, it's spacious, a little bigger than the bare minimum for sure, and it's got a little front foyer so I can keep my that canopy I can keep my gear dry with. I can
call those vestibules.
Yeah.
I like the foyer. It may sound fancy.
Well, it is.
You got kicked pinky out when you talk about it.
So that is what I'm going to use, and then on top of that, I've got I guess we call it just a canopy, a lightweight canopy that I'm going to string above that. So just that extra layer of sun protection and rain protection and everything else. But also a place, when I don't want to be in my tent, being unsociable, I can sit under if it's raining, or we can all sit under and just enjoy the outdoors.
There you go. What about, so you got your tent. Well, what about the rest of it? Sleeping bag, pad.
Yep. Because of the temperatures we're anticipating, looking at the annual charts and everything, I'm not taking like a mummy bag. I am taking a smaller bag that's rated to 20 degrees.
So when you see a bag like that that says 20, that's 20 degrees survival. Really, that's like 40 degrees comfortable.
Yeah.
On the average.
So, and then I ditched the pad that I had to sleep on, because if you don't take that and you're just in a sleeping bag and you're on the rocks and woods, it hurts. So you need at least a thin pad. So last year I took one that was I felt way too big. So I took a much smaller one this year, much more compact, be easier I don't have to strap it all the way across the back of my pack. And then an inflatable pillow, which is always nice. Not a necessity, but it makes it nice. And sleep-wise, I think that's it.
So mine's a different direction, completely. And this is the first of those little morale boosts that, for me, the ounces are validated. They're worth the effort, right? So last year, I've been wanting one for a while, but I bought an Argali Abrasoka, their teepee. And what's nice about it compacts down to about the size, for those on the YouTubes, about the size of my Yeti cup there, just a little fatter than that, but about the same height. But it's a 4-person tent, so we get in some real bad weather. I can fit everybody on the inside, or
three people is cozy in there. 4 would be tight.
We also had a lot of gear. But for Travis and I, it'll be enough for us both to have plenty of room. And what's nice about it, I can stand up in it so I can get dressed. The neat thing is I don't have to take a lot of extra, because my trekking poles actually screw together. They become the main pole for the teepee. But in case we do run across some cold weather or some wet weather, I am going to bring our.
Are you bringing your stove?
It has a stove. It's a little wood burning stove that has there's a stove jack through the middle of the tent, because if we could dry our gear out,
Yeah.
hang boots or shirts or whatever, we try to just dry them out. And so I mean, it's a titanium stove. It weighs 2.5 pounds. That one's still on the bubble where I may or may it's going to make the trip. Whether it goes to the mountain or not is a whole different thing. I may leave it in the truck. I may just see how.
I'm the same thing with the grill to go over the fire, because nothing be cooler than have fresh bear steaks.
Oh, yeah.
If we did kill, but the grill 7 ounces, and
that you have to have contingencies for stuff like this, right? But for me, this paid dividends when I took that motorcycle trip up the Continental Divide. It weighs, I don't know, I forget now, a couple pounds, but it's a cot that is designed for backcountry hiking.
nice.
And so I've never once had a decent night's sleep on the pads, whether it's inflatable or not inflatable or I've tried them all, hated them all. Could I get through the night? Sure. Was I happy? Absolutely not. And so it packs down, about so big, probably 2 foot by, I don't know, 6 inches around or so.
Right.
And it keeps me about 3 inches, 4 inches off the ground. I'm a side sleeper, so I can actually still sleep on my side. And that's my first little, for me, morale boost in this is it's a little big, it's a little heavy, but it's worth it to me, and I can justify. In my mind, I can justify.
It's the little things when you're up there like that'll tend to make a big difference.
The difference in a good night's sleep and a restless sleep are all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And me, I'm so tired by the end of the day that I could probably just lay on the ground and pass out. So, but I could see how that would definitely come in handy, especially if there's a little snow on the ground or it's cold and you have that stove. That'd be nice to be able to get that warm flow underneath it.
And then as far as sleep systems go, it's just I got an inflatable pillow, nothing special, and it's highly rated on Amazon, but nothing special.
Yeah.
And then it's the same down. It's a 0 degree bag. It's too heavy it's too insulated for this trip, but it packs so small that realistically most of the time I just unzip it and use it as a kind of like a quilt anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably, if the temperatures are what we think they're going to be, I'm probably going to be about there as well. So just laid out in the open in my tent.
So that gets shelter. So you have to have, the necessities. You got shelter,
Right.
primary. Then you got to source water and then food in that order.
Yep.
So water, I think we got the same thing. What I always do is I take 2 of the smart water bottles just because they're so rugged.
Yep.
And I'll start with 2 of those, brand new sealed. And then I have a water bladder in my Exo pack that it'll start full, which will be heavy for the up. But once we get to Spike Camp, I'm going to download a lot of this gear, so I'm not going to hike with it all the time. It's really just the in till I get kind of set up, and then I can offload some stuff. And then for filtration, I've got the Sawyer Squeeze, and I've got the adapter. I got 2. One will allow me to keep a dirty bottle and a clean bottle, and I can just turn it upside down, and it'll filter through into the clean.
Yep.
And then the other one, I can, if I don't ever do this, but I could if I wanted to. And I keep it. It's small, light. It doesn't weigh anything, but it's an inline filter for my bike tube on my my pack. So in case I ever get to a point that bottle burst or I don't have another option, I can at least dip my bladder into dirty water and I can just drink straight through
from it. Yeah. So we've got a lot of similarities in our system there. So I do have the platypus water bladder in my backpack. Which, like you said, I'll go up full. I put the filter. I've got an inline filter on that. I know these things are great, and I'm not mad about filtering something twice. So after I filter the water and put it in there, I have another little thing of protection inline. Then I've got the squeeze packs with the filters, and then I brought 2 large gravity bags too. So for at camp cooking, everybody's got plenty of water there. They're basically a drip system that works pretty good. And then 2 Nalgene bottles that I'll fill up. Nalgene are great because they keep bacteria from forming in there if there was anything to get through the filters. But I think that's it. The big thing is
It's just trying to prevent giardia.
yeah,
You don't
the beaver fever.
the beaver fever.
Yeah,
God, I love that name.
it's
And I personally know a lady who's
Yep,
had it, and
we sure
it
do.
is not a fun story.
nope. It is a grueling process to get rid of. It's absolutely a horrible thing to get. So when you don't ever just go and put your hands in like in the commercials, in the stream, an unfamiliar stream, and drink the water because there could be a carcass or something, a beaver just urinated right up the stream from it, and you're drinking that. Mm-hmm. So water is imperative. I know we've been looking on maps and stuff. If we've got a lot of snow melt off, which is going to be great, so it's gonna help us be able to find water sources. Packing in, water's heavy.
I mean, and
8 pounds a gallon.
and that's the reason why I bought my Jetboil is because Jetboil versus the MSR. And I could be wrong. Someone's probably going to drag me on the internet on this because I get this tiny speck wrong. But I think this is why I bought the Jetboil, because I was between the two, is that the Jetboil, the way that it works, it'll actually melt snow so you can drink it, whereas like the MSR won't.
Yeah. So Jetboil is going to go right in there with food. It has become a necessity to where you would. It allows you to
It boils water so fast.
pack so much less, and you don't have to do this all over a fire that takes forever. Jetboils are awesome. But yeah, as far as water, that's all I'm going to do. And then you can always purify water, boil it. But yeah, I'm taking the Jetboil
Yep.
with 2 canisters, even though I know you get 100 boils out of one.
See, I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
I just don't want to have a malfunction up there with that. And then
yeah, I only have one bottle. We'll probably stop somewhere, and I'll buy a second.
I've got an extra one at the house. You're welcome to have.
There you go.
Yeah.
Solved it already.
Yep.
And then food. You got to eat. And this is where I struggle the most. And
We can tell you straight.
something, I've done some research into it because we're not used to that elevation. We don't eat as much. I didn't even hear what you said.
I said we can tell you struggle with food.
Aw. I'm unhappy because I'm eat. I eat because I'm unhappy.
Oh.
So I always, it's something about it. I don't know if my eyes are too big down here in Texas or I just don't get as hungry when I get up. And I don't eat near what I pack, but I don't want to underpack and then get hungry.
Right.
And so this year I've kind of broke it down a little less than in years past, just because I've kind of learned what I do, how I operate up there. So for my breakfast, and this is really, it's every day. I bought 5 days worth of the same stuff. I do like variety, but at the same time, it's more survival than it is enjoyment. So here we are. So for breakfast, I am running HEB has a higher protein oatmeal. Mm-hmm. I'll boil a little bit of water. I'll make 2 oatmeal packets, and that'll hold me over for a while. And then through the middle of the day, it is going to be nothing but snacking, grazing, right? I have Cliff bars. I've got some granola bars. I've got some trail mix, beef jerky. I tried something different. I don't know how I'm going to like it. I like both ingredients, but I vacuum sealed. And this is something I did different this year. I'll get to this in a minute. But I vacuum sealed some tortillas, and I have some little individual packets of peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sprinkle a little peanut butter on tortilla and eat it. And then for dinner's where I typically don't eat a lot for whatever reason, but I have a dehydrated meal for each day.
Yeah.
But this is also where I have factored in a little morale boost. Dave Lewis is going with us, so he this was something I picked up off of him. I don't drink tea, like hot tea, ever. Mm-hmm. But I actually brought some hot tea packets because there's been a couple times that we've gone camping together, and at night he's sitting there with a warm cup of tea, and I was like, oh, I bet that's so good. because really what it is, it's something warm because it's already kind of cool, so it's going to warm you up. You're going to get a little more comfortable. But maybe after just drinking water all day, just a little flavor or something. And so I factored that into this time. I got a little apple cinnamon one. It smells good.
I'm taking so instant coffee is going to be instead of my tea. I've got the instant coffee, and then of course I've got the little powders that you carry too. different flavors that you can put in your water to do just that. And most of them have a ton of caffeine, or they'll help give you that boost.
Yeah, some B12.
Yeah, I'm also on morale side, doing very similar. I'm taking 10 dehydrated meals, so I have 2 a day, and then I'm doing oatmeal, just like you.
Yep.
I'm just taking. I didn't get as fancy as the tortilla, but I am taking a small container of peanut butter because one thing you're looking at in all these dehydrated meals and everything you're taking up there is the calories. You don't want empty calories. You need calories up there.
I haven't factored mine in per day, and maybe I will just for the sake of it. But the professionals out there claim you want 100 calories an ounce. Really, really dense calories.
Yeah. I found and I'm sure I know they've been out for forever, but this will be the first time I'm using them. So the honey wafers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tons of.
They're made by
calories.
Stinger, right?
Yep.
I bought some too.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you try one yet?
I have not.
They're good.
Are they?
Yeah.
So that's a Norwegian snack called Stroopwafel.
That's exactly what it's called. I'm glad you went with the pronunciation on it because I don't know if I would have got it. So
I butchered it.
I'm
I guarantee
excited. So
that's Texas trying to
oatmeal,
speak
peanut
Icelandic.
butter, the trail mix. You got to have the trail mix. But then I'm also what I have sitting there now in my pack and everything. I'm going to try to weed out a little bit. So
Yeah, I got to.
don't want to starve. The biggest thing to me is water. Like because all your dehydrated food takes water. Everything takes water. So
That's why I went to one meal. Actually, I guess 2. I got oatmeal on either ends of the day, and they're small volume water requirements.
yeah.
Most of my stuff is just like eat and go. But I will say this something I'm trying different because we're going bear hunting, and where we're going has such a high concentration of grizzly bears. There is a little bit of worry about that, coming into camp or finding food, and so you do have to stash your food. And for me, I'm bringing 50-foot of paracord, so I can throw it up over a limb and pull my food up. But what I did different this year than I've done in years past, I'm gonna see how I like it, is that I bought more bulk food of stuff that I'd actually like, that I would not historically been able to bring with me, and I pre-portioned out my allotment per day, and I vacuum sealed them, and I put everything in a bag and vacuum sealed all that. So I actually have one whole bag per day.
That's cool.
So I could take it with me. And my idea behind that was I brought a rain. There's rain in the forecast. I was a little worried about that. But I have all my food in a little dry sack that I take on my boat when I go fishing.
Right.
And because you roll it down and it clips over onto itself, that I can tie off to it and pull it all up.
Yeah.
And maybe that will help with unnecessary scent or trouble.
I did the same thing. I've got a dry bag system in paracord, just so we can move it away from the camp and hang it up. And then also got a system. Obviously, if we are fortunate enough to harvest a bear, we've got to hang that meat as well. So I've got the game bags with a hanging system.
Yep, got that.
So we can try to keep all that food over there, and then if something does wind up going, we'll hear. If we move it 75 yards from camp, 50 yards from camp, however far.
Not all of us, sir.
No, you won't hear it.
And if I get eaten by a bear, I'll just wake up and I'll be walking around heaven and be like, what happened?
What happened? Jake doesn't wake up once he goes to
At
sleep.
all. Nope.
But
Out.
I can hear a spider walking in my tent. I'm like, nope. So that's
that's the survival side of this. That allows you to hit the mountain and be comfortable day to day.
the only thing that we're missing in that, and we can get towards, and this might wind up being a 2-podcast show. The only thing that we haven't mentioned that we'll need to mention is clothing. Is that your other big survivability?
I thought we were doing this like Naked and Afraid.
Ooh, you're welcome to. We'll have to video the whole thing then. That could be awkward.
Yeah, it would be.
But the clothing, I'm doing the Kinetrex. I think you are too. I do their tall ones. What is it? They're I forget the exact name of them.
Mountain Extremes.
Yeah. Because
The ankle support.
the ankle support. Because we're going over a lot of deadfall. We're hiking up, some pretty pretty intimidating terrain. So the last thing you want to do is get 4 miles in and roll an ankle.
And this is where you know I'm a good dad, because sometimes you gotta let your babies fail. You can't hold their hand. You gotta kick baby bird out of the nest.
What'd you do?
I bought him boots months ago.
Yeah.
I've been on him every day.
Wear them.
Wear him, wear him, wear him, wear him. He finally wore him. He wore him to school yesterday. Friends made fun of him because he's got these hiking boots on with like athletic shorts. He looked dumb, but whatever. And so he took them off after like first period. I'm like, you are going to die.
Yep.
But this is how you learn a lesson. That's the whole lesson.
Here's
to
my
this.
thing.
This is where Travis is naturally going through puberty. So he's already changing into a man. This is where he's going to become a man, because while I think I'm a good dad, I'm also not a coddler. And so you're going to learn a lesson.
Here, if I was in school and like my friends were picking on me about wearing the boots, I'd be like, dude, I'm going bear hunting in Montana. I'm trying to break them in.
Yeah.
Sorry, us city boys don't understand this.
Yeah.
But
You don't understand us mountain men type.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God. And that's another huge morale thing is blisters. Dude, they can make you so miserable. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, every military member listening to this knows exactly what you're talking about.
oh my gosh. So I take the what do you see? The blister covers.
Oh yeah, moleskin.
Moleskin. I do. Yeah. And then socks. Prepare to wear good wool or similar rated socks. Because another thing that really sucks is if you're walking all the way down every day, up and down, with wet feet, dude.
And what I have found in the past, for me, that works the best, merino wool.
Yep.
All my base layers, my thermals are merino wool, my socks are merino wool, and they do the best job when it comes to abrasion resistance. So, you don't chafe, you don't blister, you don't have issues like that. The moisture is really good, but at the same time, wool still retains its insulative properties if it gets wet. So you get rained on or whatever, it's still going to help retain that body heat. And I did pack, and see, that's where I'm struggling at the moment, pack-wise, and I'm toying with the idea because I'm reaching critical mass really, really fast because of Travis, that I might actually back off some of my clothes and just maybe one day stop and wash something in a creek.
Yeah.
Just to save some room and some weight. But I think I'm just going to bring a lightweight set of thermals, and I'm going to bring a heavier set of weight of thermals in case, it does rain and it's 40 degrees. Now it's, just sucky. And I can, I hate being cold.
Oh yeah.
But I'm with you there. It's merino wool socks and Kenetrek boots will save everything.
And that's it's one thing to be cold. We can handle cold, right? It's when those extremities, those digits, those fingers or those toes and feet get just where you can't hardly move them. At that point, you're useless. You can't pull a trigger. You can't. It's just so miserable. So that's definitely something to stay on top of. You talked about thermals. So you got to have that solid base layer.
And there's not one right or wrong. There's and when you go through this, because I'm bringing multiple brands, they all bring something to the table that the other ones don't. But my choice is always merino wool. I'm sure there's some synthetic fibers and stuff out there that's supposed to be like space age and cutting edge. For me,
and that's what I'm wearing. That's what I wore last year is the space age. But it's just it wicks so quick. So just something where you're not going to stay. If you do find that you're in the situation where you get rained on or you do get wet or sweating.
And it's no different in the end of May for bear or third rifle in Colorado and the middle of November, layers.
Layers.
Because, start cool as you start walking, you'll warm up. And the last thing you do is start sweating on a mountainside.
No. So you just shed as you're going along. The easy way, right? The way you think about it for most guys too, you're gonna be like, well, I don't want to pack it. I'm gonna wear it while I'm packing in, which I will wear as much as I can. But
I've sweated below zero.
Good Lord, you can only wear so much clothes without dying. So my trick is I'll wear my base layer, a good pair of pants, and then I have my coveralls on. and those coveralls they look like they're ski bibs basically, and then a jacket and a long sleeve shirt, and that allows me to regulate body temperature for the temperature we're going in pretty good, and it's all waterproof, which, like I said, water being wet up there sucks. But and then lots and lots of socks. So probably total of 4 pair of socks, 1 that I'll be wearing and 3 backups.
Yeah, I have a fresh pair for every day, but I think when it comes, and I'll admit it, when I'm 6-7 miles in the backcountry, besides brushing my teeth, my hygiene is not like tip top of my priority. You know, I may throw a little deodorant on.
Has it ever been?
I at least try to take a shower once.
So I got the little disposable finger brushes that they come preloaded with the toothpaste and everything, and just to keep the mouth a little fresh, keep the bugs from crawling around in there.
See, maybe this is too much sharing. I just take toothbrush. I just kind of knock it off. Get wet, knock all the junk off, and I don't care
it's a little bit of civilization that makes you feel fresh and crisp and ready for another day.
This is the little stuff. I mean, that's the truth of it. Is it's little creature comforts, little successes.
Yep.
And then clothing wise, it's very dependent on the person, the weather. You know, I'll have thermal bottoms on. I'll bring a vest, pants, that type of stuff. I'll take a jacket.
In Montana, in hunting season, we have to have at least 400 square inches of orange on us, which is typically going to be a pack cover. A hat. It's got to be above 400 inches above the waist. So I don't know who measures this, but just have as much orange on as you can.
You don't want accidents.
No. Yeah.
But it'll be pretty simple because it'll get, even though you're like, oh, it's 60 degrees, that lack humidity, it does feel warm, and you're like a mile closer to the sun.
Pretty dry. Yeah. It feels like you're a mile closer to the sun, or 20 miles. So the orange is a big part of the vest. You know, you can always shed off. It becomes a lot easier once you get to camp and you can dump most of your pack.
What about technical gear? What are you bringing this year? Like what,
Okay. First, obviously, we need these. Is our InReach by Garmin. They allow us to communicate with each other and with
home base
people back at home.
Yeah.
It's not fancy. It's just simple text, but it's like you can say, "Hey, I'm okay." There's also a button if there is an emergency you can hear, which we're in a place where there could be one.
And my wife told me this year, do not. You better respond to every time I text. The baby.
I get it.
I've been told.
I get it.
I've been told several times either show back up with Travis or don't show up at all.
I remember once we came off a mountain where you didn't have your InReach, and I believe it was 400 messages.
Oh yeah.
Tink, 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 tink. And I just had to sit there in the truck for 30 minutes while he got them all. They all started coming in.
Well, we were backcountry for a week, and it made her feel good to
Oh, I get it.
She was texting.
It's like she's talking to you.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time, it makes me feel loved. But it's stuff. It was stuff that was happening that she didn't want to forget about. So it was almost like she was just sending like little notes, like, "Hey, this happened. Just wanted you to know." A lot of good morning, good nights. But yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was like so 3 solid minutes of dinging.
My wife is exactly the opposite. If I text her anything more than like once a day saying good night, she'll be like, "Dude, you're supposed to be hunting off grid.
Yeah.
Stop."
Yeah, I get it.
So it goes either way. And that makes me feel loved. I mean, I get you in. Mine does because she knows she wants me to be out there, appreciate it, kind of absorb the whole experience of being off the grid.
And I picked up some new gear for this one. I've been wanting it, and that's kind of what this goes. I find stuff I want. I kind of wait till right before because just to wait. I always procrastinate. But this year we're going to try to film it. We've got our phones, our InReaches, some film equipment, which most of it's going to be my phone, but
audio equipment.
Yeah, stuff like that. And so there's a company called Dark Energy. I've been following them on Instagram for a while, and they make a super, super rugged, super thin solar panel, an 18-watt solar panel, which you need about 15 watts to charge your phone. And so this puts out 18 watts. What's neat about it, it's waterproof, it's rugged. You can actually roll it up in like a taco.
Yep.
And so I got it and their battery bank, because they're optimized to work together, that should give us more than enough power supply
For everybody to charge
So
up.
we can charge our phones, charge the audio equipment, the camera equipment, stuff like that. And so I got it in a couple days ago, and I went dog training yesterday, and I was like, I wonder. So I've been playing with it. I wanted a field test before I took it with me, and I was able to charge my phone while sitting in the middle of a field off just this solar panel. And what really made a difference for me is that on my phone, if I plug it into like what we call the good charger at the house,
Yeah.
it fast charges. It charges in like a third of the time or
Right.
whatever. And just the sun yesterday, because it wasn't really flat, it was more kind of like a really lazy U, because it had been rolled up. That's how it comes. It put out enough juice to fast charge my phone, and so
That's awesome.
that's going
to come in handy with everybody in camp.
Yeah,
As
so-
long as we got a little bit of sunshine. And
that was my plan: is find a sunny spot, leave my charger and it out, and just let it charge the bank during the day, and then come home or come back to camp, plug our stuff in that we need, get the little bit of charge, and off you go.
So I'm taking 2 of the battery banks that have the solar little panel, the photovoltaic cells there on top of them. So they're self-charging. It takes them forever to charge, but they work. And that's going to, like you said, we're going to have our phones. This year I'm doing something different than I've done in the past because I knew you were bringing that that cool system that's really going to allow us to charge everything. All my flashlights, really all my gear has built-in batteries, rechargeable batteries.
Oh, nice.
So I'll just be able. I've got everything charged up as it is right now. I've got a pin light. I've got my main light. I've got a headlight, and then I bring a small light for like around the tent for the area right there. If we don't have a fire going or something, it doesn't put off a lot of light, but it allows everybody just to kind of see the general area.
Just
right there.
enough to see the gleam off the bear's
Yeah,
teeth
the reflection.
Yeah.
Of his eyes.
as he charges.
So I've got, as he charges. They got all of that put together. So it's going to
Speaking
be
of
the
that,
most.
we both got something new just for this trip.
We did. We both got
44.
Little bitty baby 44 Magnums.
They suck to shoot.
Good Lord. I've fired mine once to make sure it's a revolver. It's going to shoot, make sure it shoots. And
I put, what did mine, 5 shot? I put 5 through it, and I was like, I came back and said, I was like, not again.
not
But
unless I
at
have
the
to.
same time, I was shooting buffalo boars, hot loaded bear loads or whatever they are.
Right.
Yeah.
What we're actually going to have in the field. That's the way to test it. God forbid you would have a grizzly charge in that close, and this is how it happens, right, folks? You make a mistake, and it's an easy mistake to make because you get between a sow, a mama bear, especially a big brown, and her cubs. And at this point, they've been out of the den and stuff. They're starting to get a little more independence. That gap could be 75, 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
She knows they're safe there. But so if you're walking down the trail or wherever, and
She gets a little angry.
if you're between her and her cubs, that's a scary situation.
And it happens every year.
Yeah, there are fatalities out there.
And I
every
think at this
year.
point, James just been jacking with me because he sends me like every article.
Every obituary or every attack
Yeah.
notification. Yeah. I was watching. Shouldn't have watching the YouTube the other day, and it was not far off from where we're hunting. And Montana Parks and Wildlife came upon a hunter's carcass, and in amongst his stuff, you see his rifle, and you see his clothes, his shoes laying there, and skull and everything else, and then you see his deer bleat, his call, and I was like, I know what happened there.
Yeah.
So,
That's Dave's plan. He's 100%.
So I was talking to Dave. Really, that call isn't. It's not like coyote calling. You're not calling him in. It's when you've got one working a wood line in the open, and he starts walking in. You want him to come back out. That's the time to use that call, not just sit there and just wail on it. That could be bad.
I was listening to another podcast yesterday talking about elk populations in the West, and that's what the guest was talking about, how everyone, and don't get me wrong, I don't support wolves reintroduction in places that aren't wolves, but everyone blames wolves for the number one predator of elk calves when it's actually black bears.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that.
Because, and it makes absolute sense because an elk calf is, their instinct is just like a whitetail fawn, is to lay there in the grass, be perfectly still. And these black bears know it, and they'll actually follow the herd, and they'll basically just systematically walk through fields to find them.
Get an easy meal.
Easy meal.
Yeah. So you talked about the revolver we're taking, our bear deterrent, and then the other bear deterrent, Travi, is taking a.
I did several things I'm doing to make Mama happy, and I went ahead and I bought some bear mace,
bear mace. It's a big old can.
supported by Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
How bear mace you?
Yeah. So has he practiced with it at all yet? Because
No.
I mean, just he knows how it works.
Yeah, we've gone through it all.
Yeah.
And and if you listen to the powers that be, they say that bear mace is actually better than a firearm because it'll, you're less likely to miss.
Right.
My theory is, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. We'll spray it and shoot it.
Yeah. And
Maybe that bear just likes spicy food,
yeah, maybe
pre-seasoned.
maybe that's why. Maybe he's coming in because he's developed a taste on it for it. And one thing you got to watch. The last thing you want to do is shoot a brown, right? Unless you unless you know there's an imminent threat, he's not backing down. He's not bluffing, or she. And bear mace is a fantastic way to deter them. Because that shooting is the very last resort, and God forbid that happens. Because we know people who've been attacked and they've got a couple rounds in them before they were hit.
Yeah.
I think it just pissed the bear off. So we talked about a pistol, rifle.
Yep.
That helps to shoot the bear.
It does. This same one I've taken on several trips now. It's a custom Circle Star build in 6.5 Creed. It is it's a blueprint and true 700 action proof research barrel. It's got a Vortex laser
Razor Light Hunter.
Razor Light Hunter on top of it. Atlas bipod. The new thing is this year I went ahead and I added a little piece of aqua rail.
Yeah, I saw that.
That way, I'm trying to make things easier for Travis. Really, this is Travis's hunt. I want him to shoot, right? And so this will help. We can shoot off the bog pod a little better, and I don't have to bring that big head shave weight.
Yeah. Are you taking the bog pod?
Yeah. I got one little carbon fiber Sherpas,
Yeah.
and that's what I have. That way we can sit up or however we need to get, and it'll steady it up for him. And then as far as ammunition goes, those are one-off customs. I went ahead and in the off season, because the ammo I was shooting, I can't get it anymore. So I went ahead and made up a custom load for it. It is Berger 140 grain VLD match, so very low drag hunting match ammo that I found the powder chart. I did all the stuff, all the reloading stuff to make it shoot right. So it's super quick for my rifle, and it's hovering about an 1/8 inch group at 100 yards. So
Nice.
I think it'll do everything I needed to do for Travis. I went ahead and I got all the speed, all my dope, all my everything. That when we get there, I have my Vortex range laser rangefinder. I'll mark the bear. I'll set everything up, and I just tell Travis, breathe, center mass, let her fly.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, I'm not a similar setup. I'm using the Tika Veil 300 Win Mag that I've used and been successful with on several hunts. Been unsuccessful on a lot of hunts. Everything I've shot with has died.
There you go.
So
that's important.
That's what's important. 190 grain SIG, their match.
Did that come in?
It did not. So I got screwed on this twice now. It happened 2 times. My ammunition got ordered and did not get shipped. So it's arriving next Tuesday. So I've got either 3 or 5 rounds.
Aim small, miss small.
Yeah, well, you don't need that many. I feel confident even if it's only 3 because I had 10 cases or 10 boxes that I bought.
But say I
3
knew I
years
ordered
ago.
it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Daniel did the same thing. I watched you do it, and it just didn't go through. But I was able to put 2 boxes, 40 rounds, shooting downrange, and making sure it was comfortable, making sure where it was needed to be. Same thing, shooting about an 1/8 of an inch. That one little tiny ragged hole, and I'm comfortable with that. I've got my dope chart taped onto my rifle stock.
See, I use an app for mine, and what I end up doing, because I've lost the little paper ones in the past that I've taped to it, that so I will take a screenshot of my dope chart and I'll turn that into my lock screen.
Yep.
That way, all I have to do is real fast just hit the button. I can see my lock screen. I go, oh, this is exactly.
I did the same thing. Yeah, I'll do the same thing. Yeah, you're the one who taught me that, and I did the same thing last year, and it came out. I did use I got the waterproof paper, waterproof tape, and everything. So hopefully that works. And I've got it everywhere. It is that I got enough of them, and I put them like that. Information will be ingrained in my mind. I already know pretty good out to 500 yards. But so I'm ready for that. And I don't have an Atlas bipod yet. I got a Harris. I sure do like those. I don't want to mess with anything on my gun right now because it is shooting so good.
Yeah, this close to go time. I wouldn't change nothing.
Shooting the same optics, I believe. You've got a Gen 2. I think mine's a Gen 1. I got the Razor Light Hunter 3.5 by 15. And then on the end of it, I have the Silencio Mega 300 suppressor. And you're shooting suppressed, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I've got a can on it. A company that I used to represent years ago, but they're out of business, and so I still got their cans. They work great for my stuff. So
hey, I'm excited about that, and you know that suppressor allows you to on top of taking recoil away from it.
That's the big thing for me and Travis.
Yeah, it allows you to when you shoot, they don't know the direction it comes from. So if you get to put a second round in them or something like that, they're not necessarily running away from you. So. That's the rifle and ammo setup that I have in optics and everything. And then other optics that are super, super important out there is what we're going to spend majority of our day looking through.
I forgot all about that.
Maybe 10, 12 hours a day, you are spotting. You are looking up one side, down the other of, these south-facing hillsides, mountainsides. And it's grueling. So you need good optics. We've found that out in the past. You have to have great optics to do that and be able to pick them out.
So I think we're both running the Vortex Razor 12 by 50s.
Yep.
And then either be in my pack or I'll make Travis do it, one of the two, if he has a little room. But we'll have that Vortex Razor spotting scope just the same. That way, if we, hey, there's something there. And what I did,
bold move, Cut. I know you need it.
And if I don't bring it, I know I'll regret it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to have a solid spotting scope. The binos, I think we're both running a marsupial pack, which it distributes the weight easier. The little magnetic system it has is awesome.
And then on the spotting scope, I've got a MagAttach phone holder.
Yeah.
That way I can actually put my phone on it. I can take photos, or if we're close enough together that we can actually all look at it at the same time. Like, hey, okay, instead of the old way that we're all there together and you're like, okay, do you see that one tree that kind of looks like a not a squiggly S but kind of a long S? Okay, or then you go down to the right, that little rock there. All right, see that? No, you'd be like, everyone can look, and I have my phone right there attached to my spotting scope. Be like, okay, see that? And you point at it, and they're like, you think that's a bear?
When you're with anybody in the mountain for whatever reason, whether it's you're excited or you're just sleep deprived or what. When you describe where the location of something is that you see to somebody, you sound like a kindergartner trying to explain something to their parents. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, you see that little thing that's like green, but not really green,
next to the brown,
but it's definitely green.
Okay, so you see the brown rock, right?
Yeah.
The hell?
Which one? Oh, that one right there. One next to all the rest of the other round rocks.
Oh my God! So I'm doing a little different than you. I'm doing an ultralight tripod for my binoculars, but I've also got an attachment on the top where it'll be a rifle rest as well. And then I've got more of a piece of hardware that it has clamps and little adjustments all over it for my phone that'll allow me to use it through my binoculars.
There you go.
And I was testing that out last night. The getting it set up part sucked. It took 10, 15 minutes, but once it's set up, then you're good all day.
And the upside, once you're sitting on that hillside and it's time to glass, you kind of got all day.
You do have all day. Yeah. Weather permitting and everything else. And, there's so much you got to take into consideration with the weather, too. Fog, snow. Fog's a big one. Snow, rain, all these different conditions affect everything out there. So that's part of the adventure and why you need such good equipment. So we got rifle, we got ammo, we got our sleeping stuff, we got optics, water,
anything
snacks.
Unique that you're bringing that someone else would have never thought of.
Whiskey?
I thought that was a given.
Okay. Somebody else would have never. No,
that's funny because I was gonna bring a little whiskey too.
Well, yeah, just a little bitty thing to where at the night, we do if somebody kills or something, or
a little toast,
if we get rained out, be like, here you go. What am I potentially bringing that nobody else would have thought of? man, I can't think off the top of my head. One big thing is, it's just kind of not a first aid thing, but I found in the past you have to have is a buttload of chapstick.
Oh yeah.
So the chapstick, the sunblock that has no scent but also repels ticks, because where we're going, a lot of ticks.
Gonna be a lot of ticks.
No, if I was almost going to bring my bag today, my pack, and put it here and unload it and show everybody on YouTube, but
You know what? I think I'll do this. Depending on the weather tonight, I may actually pack all my stuff.
Yeah.
That I may do. I always like them. The photos I have like everything kind of laid out. I may do one of those and post it to Facebook. You know what? I'll do this. I will do that.
Yeah. My bag's packed. I need to unpack it, I guess, and go over it. I want to shave a few more pounds or ounces at least. So I'm sure.
You should have started working a long time ago, sir.
I'm sure there's something, dude. I've got. Speaking of that, so in preparation for this, I've lost. You want to keep a little fat on there while you're up there, but I've lost 12 pounds, so I'm the lowest weight I've been in a long time. Just trying to, keep from doing this in past years and everything, knowing, lighter is better.
See, I'm up 5, but down to pant size.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about gaining muscle mass. I got all the muscle at my age that I'm ever going to need. I just want to keep it lean and mean going through those mountains, humping it.
I think the wildest thing for me this year is that little ruggedized solar cell.
It is super, super cool.
Oh, it is. It's so cool. And you talk about, orange. The backside, I specifically ordered the orange one in case, maybe my banks are full and we're hiking from place to place. But, place like Colorado requires you to have something on the back. We bought those extra vests last year, just throw in the back of our packs. This one I can just flip around. And it's neat. It's got little magnets. I can actually stick it to stuff. It's got all sorts of but there's tie-outs that I can actually lash it to my pack. So if I'm hiking, I can run the solar side. If I need more of the orange, I can flip it over.
Yeah. One thing I thought, a Creature Comfort, I thought about bringing, but I didn't, just because I'm all about shaving the weight. But I've watched so many guys bear hunting, and they take these little ultralight micro pull-out chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Man, those look comfortable, sitting around the fire and not having to be on the ground. I brought a butt pad, which is great when you're scouting or just sitting anywhere, especially if the ground's wet. But, man, a chair's tempting. But I can't take any more weight. No. It's a lot.
A chair may be on. I saw one the other day that packs down super small. And it looked nice, but I'm out of time to order, and I think this year I'll try it without. That may be next year thing.
Yeah. It'll give Dave something to do. Hey, Dave, make us some chairs. That dude can build anything.
That's true.
He'll just sit there and whittle you up a chair. Here you go.
And see what's funny about it, and maybe something we'll talk about while we hike, is that Dave's pack out is going to be vastly different than ours.
Vastly. He has more of the.
I saw him one time in Big Bend when we went. He hiked what looked like a twin mattress rolled up, and he was just as happy as he could be. Dude, and I don't see how he does it. It drives. I can't put sheets over my head. I feel like all of a sudden.
He does the bivvy.
Yeah, he just wraps himself up like a little taco, and he's gone.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
It's years of training.
I guess
they think they forced him to learn how to do that, acclimate. Yeah. Awesome. What else? First aid, big one while you're up there. We already mentioned blisters, that moleskin. I can't stress them enough. You're gonna get blisters. You're gonna get a lot of blisters, most likely. Keep your feet dry and take stuff to keep those blisters from getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yep.
What else? I don't know if you took one. I took one. So, of course, we've got a basic first aid / trauma kit. Has a tourniquet in it and stuff. If, God forbid, somebody gets really hurt and we have to use that stuff, that's there. And then I take a thermal blanket. So ultralight little thermal, whatever it's, Mylar or whatever it's made out of.
The little silver thing?
Yeah.
The space
so I take
blanket.
that. So I'm not worried about it getting that cold. But if somebody's in shock, that's comes in handy for sure. And then, the sprays, I'm not taking any. Well, Dave said he had some really good spray that you make yourself, a powder you put together for ticks and mosquitoes and stuff. Yeah.
If it's that stuff the state used to give us, I can guarantee I got cancer from it. It's the only thing I've ever sprayed on me that burned.
Well, that's how you know it's working.
Like, it hurt for a long time. But you wouldn't get ticks for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, that's what we need then.
So, but We'll when we get back, we'll kind of go. We'll revisit this podcast, and we'll kind of go. We'll give a shakedown. What worked, what didn't work, what we liked, what we'd change, and hopefully, some of this kind of helps you all out planning. We say this all the time. If you've got questions, we are far from the experts. But we've done it a time or two, and we'd be more than happy.
We're always figuring it out. Yeah, and please comment on YouTube or go through the website. And
We'll
ask
tell you
us a
what we like, what we
question.
don't like.
Hey, two major things we forgot: tracking poles,
Oh yeah,
which you can't do it without it. Like,
it makes all the difference in
period.
the world. Like way more than you think. Plus, I bring mine because they're my tent pole.
Yeah. Trekking poles are an absolute essential. And then sunglasses. If you're up there without sunglasses, scouting, with the sun coming up, it's miserable. So those two things.
Well, you're at 6,500 feet. You're a mile closer to the sun. It's going to be brighter.
Yeah. And,
It's just common math.
there's reason. I mean, we've gone on hikes before. We're talking about the tracking poles. We just you couldn't do it without it. Like it's crazy how much weight it takes off of you.
And I'm still hoping it's not as bad, but we're still getting enough of these solar flares right now.
Oh, that'd be cool.
To actually see the northern lights. It's one thing, like, so when here the other night, we go outside, you kind of saw something, but maybe you're seeing something. But when I took it on my phone, it'd show up through my phone, 'cause I guess settings or whatever. But to actually see it with the naked eye, that'd be
With absolutely no noise pollution.
yeah,
Oh, dude.
that'd be cool.
Yes.
So maybe cross fingers.
Awesome, guys. Well, we sure appreciate everyone for listening. Thank y'all
As
so
always.
much. This is fun. So this one was a little more technical for you, those of y'all who were in it for the.
We're building into it.
Yeah.
We got to set the foundation
Yep.
for the stories.
So it was, absolutely. So I know y'all like us to be a little more funny sometimes, but sometimes we gotta do the serious ones. To how we're doing it, because there's a lot of people out there that want to do it.
Because I guarantee you, the stories coming back are going to be fun.
Oh, they're gonna be yeah. There's always something. There's always one that involves shit. Every year, like somebody. Last year's was Jeremy crossing the highway and coming back with like one sock.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have as much toilet paper as I thought, or something like that. He had an emergency, and it was hilarious.
I had the same thing. So in my Jetboil, I always keep, the Jetboil nests the fuel in it, right? And so I always keep a rag in there, so keep it from rattling.
Yeah.
And I always take baby wipes with me.
Yep. We didn't mention that, but yes,
Yeah.
I do the dude wipes.
Dude,
but
whatever, just some moistened cloth, right? And I guess I left them in the truck. I don't know what I did with them, or left them in that horrible composting toilet thing. And
that was funny.
so I end up being very, very judicious with my little piece. I was ripping off this hand towel, and luckily I was able to get majority. I got it done, and I had to use my whole hand towel up, and I hadn't messed with my Jetboil since then. And so when I went to get everything laid out, check everything out, there's this little teeny tiny corner left of this rag, and I start busting out laughing in the living room.
That's awesome.
And my wife's like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "I just remember this time that I pooped in the woods and didn't have any toilet paper. I thought it was funny."
Yeah.
And
the
that-
dude wipes and the wet wipes are essential. Last thing you want is if
shower with
you're
them,
hiking
everything.
day and day and day is to have a butt rash.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's miserable.
that is miserable. Again, guys, thank y'all so much for liking, sharing, telling your friends about us, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Let us know if you got any questions. Otherwise, we're going to do a couple more podcasts on the mountain and then come back and talk all about our adventure.
Tell you all about it.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
You've been listening to the Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast with your hosts Jake Cawthon and Jason Westmoreland. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. New episodes drop every Monday, and catch up in between episodes on the Circle Star Minute every Friday. For more information, visit CircleStarFirearms.com, or better yet, come see our great new store at 6320 Highway 90 in Anderson, Texas. Until next time, safe shooting, folks.